Morning, everybody. Thanks for coming, and thanks for in advance to Alex for his presentation and for giving Ella's as well. We were due to be a cool jazz trio, and it turns out that we're a slightly uncool jazz duet. But it's really interesting. A lot of the talk today has been about compliance and governance, and governance is great in theory, but it's really important to be able to show it in practice. And it's great to have a facilitator or a host today who actually has governance in her title, so it exists as a job title too. UKOM, UK Online Measurement, is all about governance by the industry, for the industry. We are co-owned by the IAB, ISBAR, and our hosts today, the AOP, and we also have the IPA on our board. And UKOM endorsed data, audience data, is subscribed to by most publishers. Most publishers in the room today, I think, are subscribers. Most broadcasters, and in one form or another, most agencies too. But it's not just about publishers and agencies. We are also subscribed to by the ICO, the Competition and Markets Authority, the CMA, and Ofcom. So we have government regulators subscribing to UKOM endorsed data because of the value it provides. And it was Melanie Dawson last year, CEO of Ofcom, who, on presenting the Online Nation report that used a lot of UKOM endorsed data, made the point that as regulators, they have to stand up in court the decision or the decisions they make and the data they base it on. And that was quite a sobering realization for me as CEO of UKOM, that this really, really matters, and the governance of the audience data that UKOM performs really matters to the industry. To be clear, UKOM endorses UK audience data, not advertising data. We don't measure ads, we measure audience, for PC, tablet and smartphone, and it is provided for the industry by Ipsos and is available via their audience proposition, Ipsos Iris. When talking audience measurement, we don't often get to talk about pioneering, but this really feels like this is it, what you're about to hear. When we moved to Ipsos as the supplier, we were told by the industry that the data has to have relevance in a world of programmatic audience. And this case study and Alex's presentation from Ozone will show governance delivering value to advertisers through the integrity of the data that is supplied by Ipsos. UKOM gives the industry data with integrity. Ozone takes that data and gives the industry audience with integrity. And what Goodstuff have done with Tailors of Harrogate is delivered planning with integrity. As I say, I'm sorry there's no Ella here, and if there are questions at the end that would have been directed to Ella, I'll take them offline, I'll get them back to her, and we'll get them the answers via the AOP to anybody who asks them. But on that note, I'll say get well soon to Ella and introduce you to Alex Maude of Ozone.
Thanks, Ian, and good morning, everyone. Thanks for inviting me and me as Ella to the stage today. I'm delighted to be here. I think Ian made the point about pioneering. I've never been described as pioneering personally, but I'll take it on behalf of Ozone and Goodstuff because I think this is a great example of a pioneering campaign. The first thing I want to do is very quickly give you an update on the Ozone proposition. We're an audience connection platform. We were founded in 2018 by News UK, The Guardian, The Telegraph and Reach, so 4 of the UK's leading publishers coming together to kind of tackle a problem, which was the dominance of the major tech platforms. Since then, we've grown our publisher footprint to 20 UK publishers, and all our ad campaigns are run across 250 premium editorially governed governance again. Editorially governed domains, and it's those domains where real human audiences come to be inspired, informed, entertained with real human-made content. How that translates into a kind of platform footprint, using UKOM endorsed data in Ipsos Iris. That's my first of the day. I'll say many more. The latest data shows our reach to be about 44 million UK internet internet users, so about 9 in 10. And they return frequently. So we're looking at PAMCO data here, which also includes UKOM endorsed data in Ipsos Iris. Our returning visitors, so nearly 90% of our monthly audience visits weekly and over 50% visit daily. So it's a compelling proposition for an agency like Goodstuff to work with a platform with scale and the frequency of audience. In terms of platforms, this is how we stack up, and again, this is according to the PAMCO data set. We've got Google, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Ozone, Amazon and TikTok, and we sit snugly for daily reach in between Instagram and Amazon, which I think is, again, a compelling proposition if you're an advertising agency or a brand. Here's a bit of a glance at our relationship with Goodstuff, and if Ella was here today, I'd obviously give her a huge thanks because Goodstuff were actually our first advertising agency partner. We ran our first ever ad campaign with them back in the day, and they've continued to support us since. We've run 55 campaign partnerships since 2020 across 30 publishers, 30 brands of within the Goodstuff client list. So FMCG to fashion, homeware to high street finance. And in the last year, the average campaign value has grown by 40%. And what that kind of demonstrates is that the level of platform like destined budgets is now coming to Ozone, and indirectly that's going back into the publisher world. We're here to compete with the platforms and complement our publisher partners. And just to bring it back to the UKOM stuff, Ozone and Goodstuff are both subscribers to the UKOM endorsed data in Ipsos Iris. So it provides a common currency for us to build audiences and plan with. So we have an easier understanding of the data that we're working with Goodstuff and vice versa. And from a kind of an Ozone perspective, the reason we wanted to partner with UKOM endorsed data in Ipsos Iris is it's the industry standard. Ian's already mentioned it. So using a gold standard measurement for audience and for planning is really important. It was built with privacy and compliance in mind. The Ozone platform, built post-GDPR, is built in the same way, so it makes sense and it's future-proof. So the measurement doesn't stop at what's available today. New measurements are coming on board all the time. So publisher YouTube measurement was launched 18 months ago or so, which again provides another data point in market to talk about publisher audiences and where they're found online. But I'm going to talk now about the Taylor's partnership. So the first thing to mention is this is a 3-stage campaign that we've been running in 2025. The opportunity for Taylor's of Harrogate, which is a great British brand, was that they wanted to reach and measure premium audiences at scale, which they could find across Ozone, but with a high level of precision. The precision part is something that we're very proud of, but we implemented a specific measurement framework as part of these campaigns. And all of the insight from each wave of the campaign has been used to inform the next wave of the campaign to improve the campaign effectiveness. So really, the objectives were to gain an understanding of the core behaviours of Taylor's customers across Ozone. We wanted to drive incremental sales for the Taylor's brand overall, but also their range of coffee bag products. And we wanted to produce engaging custom desktop and mobile formats across display and video. So we have our own in-house design team that do that. So our solution combined all of those things: unique targeting, bespoke measurement, and Studio Zone, who's our creative team, the work that they produced. The way that we position this back to Taylor's and Goodstuff is by providing them with like a formula, if you will. So our audience platform, we like to say, provides brands with a connection advantage. So they can reach human connections at scale through our big reach. They can use our living audience intelligence to understand like reader engagement trends, seasonality, and kind of behaviours across the platform. So what other content are consumers or readers reading about? And then the context responsive creative part, again, I mentioned Studio Zone, but this is a team that's specifically focused on building the very best output or formats for the environments that they're served in and the context that they're served in to increase audience engagement. Where we applied some of the UKOM endorsed data in Ipsos Iris began with our audience strategy. So Taylor's wanted to reach a core target audience of 35 plus ABC1 internet users. So what we started with was our kind of overall reach to that audience using the UKOM data. So we used a combination of visitation data and lifestyle statements to build our Brew Crew audience. So we established an 80% reach across Ozone to that audience in the UK, so about 17 million adults. And then we applied our 35 plus ABC1 demographic again within the Ipsos Iris platform, and the reach went up to 86%. It was about 3.1 million adults. We then looked at things like their device usage in our own environment or our own platform to establish where they could be found from a device perspective. And we looked at their highest indexing behaviours with engagement with other content. So they weren't just reading about hot drinks and hot beverages, they were reading about lots of other things, surprise, surprise. But some of the interesting things we discovered were they were over-indexing with things like sport, cricket content, style and fashion, and air travel. So again, the hypothesis that this kind of like more mature, slightly more affluent audience are engaging in those contexts allowed us to apply them to the campaign. We also looked at the kind of seasonal moments where these readers would be kind of most likely to be engaging with these types of content to, again, allow tailors to kind of plan the campaign in the moments that kind of the audiences could be found. Our custom measurement framework was designed to give a fuller picture to provide a more platform experience for tailors and Goodstuff. So we implemented 2 custom brand studies with our partners, Brand Metrics. I can see Sean over there. So we use Brand Metrics for our brand lift studies, measuring awareness, consideration, preference and action intent and the full brand lift, but also applying special poll questions to find out qualitative responses to particular questions about the tailor's brand and their place or position within the coffee market. We looked for the first time at applying brand lift studies to specific formats. So we were looking at the impact of, say, a high-impact skins format and a mobile interscroller to see which ones were doing what and better. So if skins were pushing awareness or if the interscrollers were pushing things like preference or consideration, we were measuring that as well. To give tailors a bit of a full picture of how that was impacting sales in store, we included a Sakana in-store sales survey. So a kind of geolocation blackout in one region versus others to show a link between the campaign where it was running and actual sales uplifts in store. And the final part of it was applying lumen pixels to the campaign to measure attention, and that's Goodstuff's preferred attention supplier. So those 4 things. Here's a couple of examples of the work that our Studio Zone put together. It's important for me to mention that when we received the assets from the creative agency, we received like one thing, which isn't uncommon in digital. There has been times when we've been sent out of home creative and asked to create an MPU format, which is obviously quite different. But our Studio Zone team worked quite tirelessly to create assets that were both engaging animation here on the bottom side of the screen, so slightly static, but then reactive to users engaging with the actual ad itself. So you can see the hover over there selecting the coffee bags. And then the other format to highlight was our interscroller. So this is our mobile format that's seamlessly viewed on mobile. It's quite non-intrusive because it kind of appears as you're scrolling through the page content, which is nice. But the first time we tested a format which is on this side, it's like a flow scroller. So it reacts to the kind of scroll as the user's viewing the ad, and again, designed to kind of boost attention and engagement. And then, don't take my word for it. Ella, if she was here today, would read out this quote. I'm not going to, but it was a great bit of feedback from Goodstuff, and it's good to hear that the work that our team are doing is going above and beyond to like provide a better, like I would say, a platform experience to our agency partners. I think again, with a limited asset, the team produced a wide range of formats, so it's not just like these couple of examples, or as a huge plethora of ad formats created. This is the bit that Ella would do, so I'm going to switch to Goodstuff mode. The upfront is that the campaign, or the third wave of the campaign, is still in flight. So these aren't the full results, but this is a sort of cherry-pick selection for you. In terms of performance, the highest performing CTR was the skins, so the kind of big, the awareness driving skins format, and it was the reactive one, so the one where the users were really engaging with the format, that drove the highest CTR. The video formats that we used included pre-roll and a video wrap. So a video wrap's like a little, it's almost like a video wrapped in like a banner. They achieved high VTR. The video wrapped outperformed the benchmark for VTR by 44%. But it demonstrates really how the premium environment and the format mix can really create a higher level of engagement with the viewers. In terms of brand lift, the total brand lift for the campaign was 4.4%, driven by awareness and consideration. 4.4% doesn't sound a huge amount, but Taylor's already had quite high brand standings, so it was already quite well established. So pushing the dial up by a few percentage points is really important. And part of our special polling, we were asking users about their opinions of the Taylor's brand. So 40% of users considered Taylor's a brand worth paying more for. So again, some nice qualitative data to share back with Goodstuff and the client. And then looking at the formats and the brand lift performance that we're driving. So skins contributed 68% to the overall brand lift, and the scrollers contributed 22%. But the first time we've ever really broken those numbers out. But again, combining the audience planning with the creative output really helped to move the dial on the brand lift. Looking at attention across both campaigns, so the two that we've run so far, we identified a strong correlation between attention, so higher attention and brand lift, with the higher attention placements driving greater uplifts. This is probably the bit that Ella will know more about than me, so I'm just going to defer to reading on the screen. But overall, the attention per 1,000 impressions, so that's the Lumen APM, was 1,585, and it was actually the interscroll that was driving the highest level of attention. So again, that lean back moment on your mobile, or that lean forward moment, I should say, was driving greater attention, and that was making a higher contribution to overall brand lift. And then finally, looking at the Circana point of sales study, we found that whilst the campaign was really focused on driving awareness and consideration, there was a direct link between the campaign and sales uplift in store. So nearly 5% uplift in featured product sales, and then a 2.3% lift for brand sales in store, so across the two campaigns. And that was 2 times higher than the Circana benchmarks. Again, apologies, I've just kind of read that off the screen, but, there we go. But again, providing Taylor's and Goodstuff with a kind of fuller, richer amount of performance and output really helped to tell a better story to them. And Ella actually did pull it out of the bag last night. She got a direct testimonial from the client, sent it through at 5:30 yesterday. But Jack from the Taylor's brand team said that Ozone's been a great addition to our channel mix. They provided valuable creative support and advice in the lead up to the campaign activity going live, whilst ensuring that placements were optimised throughout the activity. You get the picture. There we go. But great to get actual direct feedback from a client about a campaign that we'd run. And it all kind of started with the Goodstuff relationship with Ozone, the application of UKOM endorsed data in Ipsos Iris to our campaign, audience strategy and the Good Stuff's planning, and then everything else was the icing on the cake. And that's me.